Let's check in now with the court case that is going to be taking place. And of course, that is the bail application of Dr Nandipha Magudumana. It's resuming in the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court today. She's been charged with assisting in the prison escape of her boyfriend, convicted rapist and murderer Thabo Bester last year. But to tell us what to expect in the courtroom today, let's cross over to our reporter, Kamogelo Seekoei. And Kamogelo, very interesting story to tell from last week. A very different character sitting in the docks last week, crying. That, of course, Dr Nandipha, crying and very emotional as opposed to the previous week, sort of gushing over her boyfriend, Thabo Bester. But perhaps we'll see a different version today. What are we expecting today?
Good morning to you, Leanne, and to the viewers. Well, last week when we ended the proceedings here in court, we were expecting the defense in the matter to give their closing remarks in terms of this bail application. And of course, we saw a different character of Dr Nandipha, which was quite topical, with everyone saying that she's now crying at the last minute. Of course, she also has a case that she has in the Supreme Court of Appeal. She's taken the matter to the High Court, saying that the charges against her should be dropped. So some of those things also came out in court last week. You remember that she also said in her affidavit that she was actually forced by Thabo Bester to get into the vehicle that they traveled with when they were fleeing the country. But I have here with me legal analyst Thabo Molete, who I'd like to bring into the conversation quite immediately, just to talk about some of the things that came out. You remember, Dr Molete, that the defense had actually told the court that they are now disputing the schedule that Dr Nandipha Magudumana is facing. They're saying the charges should actually be, the charge of fraud particularly, should be a Schedule 1 because the prosecutor was not able to give enough evidence to prove that this is a Schedule 5 matter. Do you think that they are clutching at straws here, or do you think that they've put forward a strong case?
So the attorneys or the legal representatives of Dr. Magudumana, they are having a point. Remember, if you are arguing the schedule, it therefore means that the onus should be on a particular person. For example, if it's Schedule 1, then the onus is on the state to prove that it's not in the interest of justice that she's admitted to bail. But if the schedule is 5 and 6, then the applicant must show cause that there exist exceptional circumstances that she has to be admitted to bail. So from my understanding, the schedule has to be determined or established as to whether is it Schedule 1 or Schedule 5, so that at least it's determined as to whether there should be exceptional circumstances or interest of justice prevail, or they allow that she'd be admitted to bail.
In the beginning, the defense did not dispute the schedule. Is it because now the prosecution in their affidavit with the investigating officer, with all the evidence that they provided, was it on the basis of that they're now disputing this?
When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. I think the applicant's legal representatives was aware that it's now getting tougher. Therefore, they had to fight with whatever that they have to ensure that their client is admitted to bail. So one of the strategies that they applied or they employed is that they need to drill down to the schedule, so that at least if it's exceptional circumstances, probably then the state would make, they would have an upper hand over the state. So that's where we at.
There was also the issue of the fingerprint. In the affidavit from the investigating officer, he said that they were able to link Dr Nandipha Magudumana to the body that was claimed, that turned out to be the body of Katlego Bering. However, the defense then downplayed this. They said the state doesn't have proof of how they obtained that fingerprint. But in the affidavit, the prosecutor did say that because of the form that you have to fill out when you're claiming a body. Do you think they have a point in downplaying this?
Remember, in your attempt to apply for bail, you have to demonstrate that you'll come back to stand trial. And one of the things that the state would, or one of the issues that the state will put forward is that we have a very strong case against the applicant. And second to that, if the applicant is found guilty, she's going to serve a longer time period in jail. So they had to demonstrate that Dr. Magudumana, or the applicant, is directly linked to this commission of crime. So it's where they said, we have her. She was very instrumental in, aiding Mr. Bester to escape in prison. She started off by going to the morgue to claim, the body. So they had to prove, there had to be a link between the commission of crime and the bail applicant. And you must also remember that in bail applications, even hearsay is admissible. As to how they have obtained the fingerprints and so on, it will be admissible in the sense that the state would want to demonstrate that they have a strong case against the applicant, which is Dr. Magudumana. And second to that, she might be found guilty, and she would, if found guilty, of course, she will go and serve time. But if she's admitted to bail, chances are that she might flee.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Molete. That was Thabo Molete, the legal analyst, just assisting us to unpack some of the issues that came out of that heads of arguments last week when the defense in this bail application for Dr. Magudumana was applying for bail. Today we expect that they will give the court their closing remarks, and then the prosecution will come with their heads of argument. We saw last week, just before the proceedings ended, that the defense had requested for the prosecution to provide them with their heads of argument so that they can also have a look before today's proceedings can go on.